At the break of dawn on a cold morning in early 1945, a single crack of a rifle shattered the silence on the Eastern Front. What followed was a moment so surreal and terrifying that those who witnessed it would speak of it in hushed tones for years to come. A lone Soviet sniper, her steely eyes scanning the snowy horizon, calmly took aim and fired. With deadly accuracy, she struck her target as if guided by an otherworldly force. Unbeknownst to the enemy, this young woman was already legend among her fellow soldiers, rumored to possess an almost supernatural gift for precision. Little did they know, her name would go down in history as Rosa Shanina, one of the most feared female snipers of World War II, whose uncanny skill and ultimate sacrifice continued to send shivers down the spine of anyone brave enough to relive her story. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more gripping stories that lurk in the darker corners of history. Our story begins years before the front lines called her name. Born on April 3rd, 1924, in a remote village in Russia's Vologda region, Rosa Georgievna Shanina came from humble origins. The Soviet Union of her youth was still reeling from the after effects of political upheaval, leaving rural areas in dire conditions. Life in this small town was not easy. Harsh winters, scarce resources, and a need for strong will just to scrape by. Yet, by all accounts, Rosa was a cheerful and determined child. She displayed an aptitude for learning and dreamed of becoming a teacher, a role she briefly fulfilled when she enrolled in a college to study early childhood education. However, looming storm clouds in Europe would soon alter her destiny, setting her on a path none could have predicted. In 1941, the world changed forever as Adolf Hitler's armies invaded the Soviet Union. Suddenly, every able-bodied citizen was needed in the battle against an ever-encroaching threat. Rosa, just 17 at the time, watched in horror as news of brutal attacks made its way to her small village. Stories circulated of entire towns being swallowed by the chaos of war. Determined to play her part, she decided she would do more than wait idly for the menace to arrive at her doorstep. It wouldn't be until 1943, after she turned 19 and heard of her brother's death in battle, that Rosa would take the decisive step of volunteering for the front lines. Her heartbroken mother tried to convince her to stay behind, but Rosa insisted she had a duty to avenge her brother and defend her homeland. The Soviet High Command recognized that even the most ordinary citizens might harbor extraordinary talents. Eager to open new avenues in warfare, they began recruiting and training women for specialized roles. Rosa Shanina, with her unwavering resolve and sharp mind, quickly caught the attention of the instructors at the Central Women's Sniper Training School near Moscow. She spent long hours honing her marksmanship, perfecting the art of stealth and precision. She was handed a Mosin Nagant rifle, an iconic Soviet sniper weapon known for its deadly accuracy. At first, the recoil rattled her slight frame, but day by day, she grew more accustomed to the weapon's power. Her instructors whispered that she had a natural gift for hitting her mark with uncanny consistency. By mid-1944, she was deployed to the front lines as part of the 184th Rifle Division, ready to test her newfound skills in actual combat. The moment she arrived, the realities of war struck her with an almost paralyzing shock. Bombed-out villages, the acrid stench of gunpowder, and the relentless pounding of artillery made it clear that this was no training ground. Yet Rosa's reputation grew quickly. In her very first engagements, she displayed a calmness under fire that seemed at odds with her youth and limited combat experience. There are accounts of her laying motionless for hours at a time, hidden beneath the rubble of a destroyed farmhouse, just to line up that single perfect shot. Between July and September of 1944, she notched several confirmed kills that earned her the Order of Glory, 3rd class. Her commanding officers praised her bravery, noting her willingness to crawl to the front lines even under heavy shelling. Soldiers began to speak her name in reverence, and whispers circulated that a vengeful spirit guided her rifle. So extraordinary were her accomplishments that some believed she had more than just a soldier's grit driving her. It was almost as if she were paying a personal debt to the memory of her fallen brother and everyone else stolen away by the horrors of war. In her rare moments of downtime, Rosa kept a diary, an intimate look into her psyche. On October 16, 1944, she wrote about moral conflict, whether each life she claimed as a sniper forever weighed on her conscience. She admitted that she did not relish killing, but she knew it was her duty to protect her homeland. Her journal also contained references to her concern for civilians caught in the crossfire. She wrestled with haunting thoughts that any bullet she fired might leave behind a grieving family similar to her own. Still, she pressed on, refusing to let guilt overshadow her sense of purpose. As December 1944 rolled around, Rosa's tally of confirmed kills climbed into the 50s, a shocking number that cemented her reputation as one of the deadliest snipers of the war. The rumor of her feats spread beyond Soviet lines. German soldiers were warned to be extra vigilant when entering her sector, as the name Shanina was synonymous with certain death if they dared to cross her sights. Fellow Red Army snipers looked to her as a guiding star, an example of the heights a dedicated marksman could achieve, regardless of gender or age. Despite the dire circumstances, she managed brief moments of camaraderie with her fellow soldiers, sharing rations, scribbling in her diary, and trying to maintain some semblance of normality in a world overrun by chaos. But none of this success came without danger. The more kills she accumulated, the greater the risk of retribution from the opposing side. Snipers often worked in pairs or small teams to watch one another's backs, but that did not guarantee safety. In late January 1945, amidst the frozen battlegrounds of the East Prussian offensive, German forces launched a desperate barrage of shells and bullets to halt the Soviet advance. Rosa, intent on covering the retreat of wounded comrades, exposed herself to enemy fire. According to witnesses, on January 27, a single artillery shell exploded nearby, shrapnel tearing through her torso. Gravely wounded, she was rushed to a field hospital, her fellow soldiers praying she would pull through. She held on for nearly a day, succumbing to her wounds on January 28, 1945. She was just 20 years old. In her short life, she had risen from a modest upbringing to become a symbol of fearsome skill and unwavering courage. Official records credit Rosa Shanina with 59 confirmed kills, although the actual number may be higher. Even after her death, her diaries surfaced, offering rare insight into the inner world of a young woman torn between her sense of duty and the terrible cost of war. Posthumously, she was awarded the Order of Glory, second class, and her name continued to echo through military legend. Rosa Shanina's story stands as a haunting reminder of the sacrifices made by those who took up arms in one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. She was not an apparition or a mythical creature, but a flesh and blood woman compelled by devotion to her homeland and the memory of loved ones lost. Now that you've heard her tale, take a moment to reflect on the thin line between heroism and tragedy in wartime. And remember, the quietest voices can sometimes leave the loudest echoes.